We're hearing there's been 9,000 claims lodged so far. No doubt you're expecting thousands more. What do you estimate will be the final total?
Well, this is a far-reaching event, which is why it's been declared an insurance catastrophe. It stretches from the Clarence Valley around Grafton all the way up to the Wide Bay in Hervey Bay. And look, floodwaters are only just receding in towns like Laidley and the like, and we're still watching what the weather system's going to do through the southwest of Queensland. So this is still an evolving situation. It's got a lot of different types of damage throughout those regions, from water ingress, flooding, wind damage from the cyclone, and probably a lot of claims may come forward with business interruption because of businesses that were evacuated from Lismore and the like. So, this will play out over coming weeks as people get in and lodge their claims.
So how many thousand are you expecting total? What's your estimate?
Well, again, it's still hard to say, but we're not expecting the level that we experienced in 2022. Remember, in that February-March event, we had more than 230,000 claims lodged, which really overwhelmed the system. At the moment, we are seeing increases in the thousands every day, and that's to be expected because people are only just getting access back to their properties and power is coming on. But my message is, if you think you've got damage, if you've got a claim, please contact your insurer as soon as possible so they are aware of the claim and can start planning the logistics around servicing that claim.
Andrew, how many of those claims that have already been lodged been processed?
Well, we start getting that data in coming days, but there's often several stages to a claim. So, for example, if you have a home and contents policy, you may be able to claim immediately for a cash payment to cover loss of your groceries, loss of clothing and the like. You may also be able to claim temporary accommodation if your home is unlivable. Then what will happen is an assessor will come and assess the physical damage to your property. Now, bear in mind there's a couple of different types of damage at the moment. We've got wind damage, which is repairable relatively quickly, roofing and the like, but then we've got problems such as inundation. And where your home has been flooded, it will take a little bit longer because the home needs to be dried out properly, because if we just go back and rebuild it straight away, it will build in mould. So they're the circumstances in which insurers will be working to find temporary accommodation. If you've lost your vehicle, they'll be providing you with a rental car if that's what your policy provides you for.
Andrew, the insurance industry has actually united politics because the Prime Minister says Australians are being ripped off. Peter Dutton's equally critical of your industry. The Premier of New South Wales, Chris Minns, he says you charge like a wounded bull. What do you have to say to those comments?
Well, I mean, I think we're in an election cycle, and I think politicians are responding to what they're hearing. We know that insurance premiums are very high, and there's three reasons for that. We've just endured 5 years of extreme weather events, some of them costing $7 or $8 billion. On top of that, inflation has been hitting insurers the same way it's hit the rest of this country. So I'll give you an example. In the last 3 years since 2022, rebuilding costs have surged 40%. Now, in that time, a 300-gram tube of silicone that's used to waterproof a property went from less than $10 to $15.80. These are the sort of costs that are coming through the system. And when I think about New South Wales, I think about the Premier's comments in 2023, where he acknowledged that people in New South Wales are paying a third more in state taxes than their counterparts in Queensland and Victoria. In New South Wales, if you're paying $5,000 for your home and contents policy, you're paying $1,500 of that to the New South Wales state government. Our insurance taxes are out of control, and the thing I urge both sides of politics to do at this coming election, find a way to take taxes off insurance. Stop punishing people for doing the right thing. Get rid of the emergency services levy, which was promised nearly 2 years ago in New South Wales, and reform stamp duty.
Andrew, you're talking about tax here. You're also talking about the rising costs of what it's actually costing your industry to fix up homes, to fix up damage. What about people who are stuck in a cost of living crisis, who can't even afford your insurance premiums, and now they're left with nothing? What do you have to say to them?
I'm very worried about them, which is why 3 weeks ago we released data that highlights that for the 220,000 homes that were built in a 5 or a 2% chance of flooding every year, less than 1 in 4 of those people have insurance coverage. We do have a crisis when it comes to providing cover for people whose homes are in flood areas. Now, the reason for that is flood is a known risk, and what we're experiencing right now here in southeast Queensland and in the Northern Rivers is insurers are facing rebuilding homes for the 3rd time in 5 years. Now, what happens is the cost of all of that gets spread across everybody's insurance policy. So for the sake of everyone's insurance policies in this country, we really need to lean into a flood defence fund, put some of that money that governments are taking from consumers through tax into building flood levies. This flood in Lismore will have not been any different because the levy has not been raised by 1 centimetre since 2022. These are the sorts of infrastructure that needs to be built around this country, and it needs to be done urgently.